Okay, so I want to talk about a subject that I am starting to wonder if it's causing a lot more trouble with our bees than people think it is. And I want to talk about the cell phone towers, 2, 3, 4, and 5G now. And what I've noticed is over the years, it's become harder and harder to keep bees. And it seems like all at once your bees will just disappear, and they don't seem strong. They aren't doing well. So what I've written I've written this diagram. The first flip phones came out in 1989. By 1990, there was 11 million users. In 1992, 2G was released, and then 1999 was 3G. 94 or 2009 was 4G. Now, in this period here, in the early 1990s, the varroa mites started just decimating colonies all over the U.S., especially in the Midwest. And before that, we had very little problems with them. Now, in the link of this video, I'm going to put a link to an article about the negative effects of EMF radiation on bees. It points out it weakens their immune system, and it causes confusion. But what I want to go on with is, and it's not just the bees. That's what I want to point out here. So in 2018, we had lots of webworms, lots of wasps, skipper moths, monarch butterflies, and cabbage worms on the cabbage. And 2019 was similar, but we had less webworms. 5G was rolled out in 2019. After 2019, we had very few worms after that. 2021, almost none. 2022, even less. Now, in 2020, spring 2020, that winter, we had a freeze that killed a lot of our raspberry stalks the year before, because the raspberries bear in the second year. You need the second year stalks to bear flowers. Now, so we had less raspberries at that year. 2021, 2022, we didn't have a freeze off. So the stalks made it over in the spring, and they flowered well, but they did not get pollinated. Most of them end up just little small pieces of misshapen berries. It takes a pollinator to get a nice berry, usually. A bee or a bumblebee or something. So the last 2 years, we've had very little pollination on our raspberries. Last year was a very beautiful year for raspberries. They did well, but they almost bore such a low amount of fruit it wasn't almost worth picking. And that started making me think, what is going on? We are not getting pollinators. And in 2021, 2022, we had an infestation of leather jackets, which are crane fly babies. This happened, I didn't notice them until 2021. 2022, they were even worse. Destroying any plants, especially in the clay soils, they just ate the roots off them. Even the weeds, they were eating roots off. And so then when I was thinking, okay, so, and I know it's in this period after 2018 that like house sparrows, starlings, other birds, we had no house sparrows and no starlings on our farm. None. There was no nests anywhere. And actually for other birds even, we didn't have as many. And the monarch butterfly tracker since 1970s started. The first cell phone towers came up in 1973. Back then, the phones were about $10,000 for one, which is interesting how expensive they were. Since 1970, the monarch butterfly population has gone down by 1.6% per year. So by now, it's 99% less than it was in 1970. And last year, we did not see, I personally only saw 2 monarch butterflies, one down by the Mackinac Bridge and one when I was driving along the road somewhere. Not a single milkweed plant that I saw had any worms on it. Not the neighbors, not down the road, not at where the National Forest we went, and not in our place. We had a lot of milkweed, no worms, and no butterflies. In 2022, I did not spray our cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower one time. Normally, I make a spray with a gallon of water, a cup of sugar, and a tablespoon of soap, and I mix it together, and I spray it on the cabbage, which is what I use to kill the worms, the moth worms or the butterfly worms. Doesn't matter which one, it kills them. I didn't have to spray in 2022. There weren't enough worms. The skipper moths, I saw a few of them, maybe a dozen. In 2028, 2019, and we had skipper moths. We'd had thousands of them in 2018 up here, and all kinds of butterflies. And then in 2019, we had some. But by 2020, they were starting to go out. So now, in the last 2 years, I have greenhouses, and I can see how many butterflies and moths get caught inside the greenhouse. There was very little to no moths or butterflies caught in the greenhouse. And when you go in the field, making hay or whatever, you didn't see them. Very, very, very few of them. And we also had, in 2020, we had an infestation of tarnished plant bugs that attacked almost all the plants. They would eat the small shoots on top of the plants and the buds. So my question is, What happened in 2019 that caused a change in our bug population? I feel it's the 5G. Now, tell me what you think. This is just an opinion. I don't know if it's true. But butterflies and bees migrate and move by electromagnetic fields. And these cell phone towers, the stronger they get, the stronger the signals get, the more it interferes with those bugs' brains. So they can't do what they're supposed to. I know I've heard it said that they say the monarch butterflies is from hitting windshields, but there's thousands of acres where there's not cars around. So I do not think that's the only reason the monarch butterflies are dropping in population. Someone says climate change. I don't think that's the case either, because bugs are extremely resilient, and there's years that go up and down. You all know that. We all know that. But there's been a scary drop in butterflies, which seems worrisome, in England, Australia, New Zealand, America, and Europe. The butterfly populations were down, bee populations were down, and bees were leaving their hives or disappearing in this period. In this period, we were fighting varroa mites. Now, if you read the article on that link I put on, you'll see that the radiation from a cell phone affected the bees' immune systems and caused them to act in ways they should not act. So my bottom line of this is, I don't want to carry on too long, I don't think it's too long, is that I believe, well, let's come to the bottom of it. I feel like that there's something happening with our birds, with our bees, with our butterflies, and our moths, and our wasps. There's lots of them too. But I have to also point out that in this period, people started planting Bt corn, which is genetically modified corn that produces Bt toxins that kills 23 types of bugs. And I would think that if the bugs would come in contact with the pollen of that corn or eating it, that it would have affected their health, killing them possibly or making them sick. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's discuss this a little further in the future.